Hello, thank you for joining the first edition of Journalist Hangout. This week, I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, fuels crisis lingers nationwide despite Senate ultimatum. And later on the show, Boko Haram releases abducted Unimade lecturers, wives of policemen. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Mayor Akipelu. So if you are ready, let the hangout start now. To have you join us. Now, 7 days ultimatum given by the Senate to the NNPC to resolve the lingering fuel scarcity has since expired without yielding any positive results. Queues are still visible at petrol stations across the country. The initial relief from the frustrating scarcity that ushered in the new year is decreasing. There appears not to be an end in sight despite NNPC's assurances that all was well. Depot owners say they don't have supply, but in some cities where the product is available, filling stations sell above the government-approved pump price. Oil marketers blame the crisis on the dysfunctional state of refineries and poor maintenance of depots owned by NNPC. Babajide, what is really going on? Last year, December, and some weeks to Christmas, we were experiencing this. Some of us, we went on vacation. Even outside the country, we discovered that people had a very, very excruciating time during the Christmas. And the Christmas break, most people were in the filling station. The Christmas wasn't merry at all. Now, we got around January, it abated a little bit. But we now discovered that the availability of petroleum is limited to maybe Lagos and Abuja partly. And we discovered that people from January or December last year, anything outside Lagos, people have been buying these products for over 145 naira, the approved amounts. And in some areas, I told you before we entered the studio, in Lagos, if you're not buying from a major marketer, get ready to buy it for more than 145 naira. You go to Ogba Stretch, go to a lot of those suburbs, you just discover that 180, 210. Jide, what is happening?
You see, for so long, the NNPC has fed Nigerians with a diet of lies. Diet of lies? Yes. The assurances have been based on falsehood. And I'm sorry to say the leadership of NNPC lacks honor, because if they lack honor and fear of God, they won't be lying to their countrymen and women the way they are lying. From the beginning, we told them that these people didn't have enough product. Some Nigerians chose not to believe us. We've seen clearly now. Nobody can talk about, oh, it's hoarding anymore, because hoarding could not have persisted for this long. 2 months. These people don't have enough products. Why it is Nigerians are so gullible is what I find difficult to understand. That Nigerians will be saying, oh, it's because it's Christmas. Oh, are we still in Christmas in February? Last night as I was going out, I saw long queues. Once I hit that Ogunaike road, yeah, Old Sherry Road, and I see that filling station opposite the road safety, and I see long queues. It's usually the first signal. Yes. It's usually the first signal to me that all is not well. All is not well. So I saw that long queue yesterday. I said, we are in trouble again. These people have not been able to solve this problem, and why the president has found it difficult to descend on the incompetent and thoroughly, in my view, dishonest NNPC leadership is what I fail to understand. On December 25, the president read a speech, having clearly been fed with lies, having believed the lies he's been fed with. The president was talking about, oh, some people were hoarding. despite the fact that enough petroleum products had been made available. But this same NNPC that is dominated by liars just last week said, oh, they were going to make 100 million liters available daily. What do we have? When that fire incident happened in Ijegun, the depot, Stallion, it was an opportunity for journalists to go there. And any journalist who is truly committed to investigative journalism will seize the opportunity to even find out what is the situation with the depots in that area, because there are many depots there. Now, out of 10 depots in that area at that time, and the marketers are watching me, out of 10 depots, only 2 had supply. Out of 10. This is Lagos, so we are not even talking about Abuja. Now, only 10 had supply. Now, go around other depots, because the way to know whether there is availability of product is not to go to a filling station. In fact, it's sheepish to go to a filling station and if you want to know the state of the fuel situation. It is the depot, because that's where fuel comes from. Now, if you go to filling stations in Lagos, you know what the NNPC does? If you have capacity for 30 million liters,
okay,
they will give you 10.
A shortfall of 20.
Yes, because what they appear to be doing now is actually rationing.
They're rationing.
And because that's what they are doing. They are rationing because they don't have enough product. These people are so arrogant that they don't want to admit their failings. And the way to solve the problem, as Kachiku said during the public hearing by the Senate, was to bring back marketers, let marketers get involved. In those days, when marketers were involved, if your capacity in your depot was 40 million, I'm using this as an illustration, that is what you get. Today, NNPC wants to do the importation alone. They don't have the capacity, but they are shameless to admit that they don't have the capacity, but they will rather inflict pain on you and I. And as Fela sang, Nigerians will be smiling, suffering and be smiling. You see people in Abuja, people who have education, arguing about something that is so plain, that, oh, it's because some people are hoarding. Are they telling us that back then, when we had a sufficient supply of petrol, that they were not shipping petrol across the border? Of course, our neighbors depend on petroleum from Nigeria. But in the season of plenty, we didn't feel it. We didn't feel it. You can't stop people taking petrol across the border because it's costlier there. But if you bring in enough products, if you allow other people to come in and sell the product here, we won't have this problem. But you know the problem for my country? We don't want to admit that we are back to the subsidy regime. We are subsidizing by a minimum of 26 naira per liter. We don't want to pay that subsidy to anybody. In any case, we are owing marketers 800 billion naira. Yes. We don't want to pay them. We don't want marketers to come back. We want NNPC alone to do the importation when they don't have the capacity even to dispense what they have. They have the capacity to even store storage, to even store what they bring in. So it's such a shameful thing, and that we will subject Nigerians to pains like this when we have a policy that is not working. We are reluctant to change the policy. We'll sit down and be lying to the president like people don't fear God. How much longer can we continue like this?
Mayor, I don't know.
I
was told that it's not realistic to bring fuel for 145 naira into Nigeria to import fuel again.
Our problem is that when there is a problem in Nigeria, we close our eyes and wish the problem to go away. This thing is not rocket science. The problem basically is that when we used to have fuel, like he said, a lot of marketers, in fact, independent marketers were bringing more fuel than NNPC. They now have problem of subsidy. This government is deceiving itself, saying that they don't want to pay subsidy. That is the problem. They've already sold the story that, oh, we are now hands-on, no more subsidy, no subsidy, and all that. Because they've said that, they cannot go back on that because they were still owing marketers.
What do you want government to do?
They were still,
if from 90-something naira it was increased to 145,
let me tell you what the
they said they will eliminate subsidy.
You see, in leadership, sometimes you need to tell your people the reason why they should make some sacrifices. You cannot think that, especially the way the economic situation is, that you will bring in fuel at 145 naira. It's not economically viable. What the independent marketers are saying is that I cannot go and bring in fuel that you ask me to sell at 145 and I will lose a lot of money. I'm going to get credit from the bank and all that. Secondly, you have to agree as government that you are going to pay the subsidy.
Yes.
If you don't want to pay the subsidy, you have to tell your people to say, look, let us deregularize this downstream sector and you pay as per the economic cost of that fuel. In other words, if fuel costs 180, everybody will know that they will pay 180. If the variables come down and it moves 160, everybody will pay that. Everybody will pay based on where you are in Nigeria. I've said that before. If we don't face that reality, we are going to, you see, this thing has always been like that. Government will pump in some certain things. They will bring in some more, they will bring in some more fuel and all that. But why this one didn't go away? There are a lot of reasons. One, because there are COE marketers, they cannot convince them to come and do that. Some few marketers the major players, they'll still need foreign exchange to do these things because it's a foreign exchange thing. So we are now head up with only NNPC to do the importation. NNPC can absorb they will just absorb it like a business loss.
Yes.
The subsidy. That is what they are doing. That's what they are doing. They will say, we are not paying subsidy to anybody. But it is NNPC that's absorbing that subsidy.
As a trading loss.
Yes, as a trading loss. But you see, we are just deceiving ourselves. We think that the problem will not go away.
Oh, yeah.
Because like you said, even in Lagos, there's no fire. There's sometimes it will drift and all that. Not to talk, when you look at the rest of the country, there's no fuel anywhere. And there's no fuel because NNPC do not have enough supply to go around. Until they deregularize that place or government agree to pay subsidy so that more people can come in and bring in fuel, that problem cannot be solved.
I want our viewers from outside Lagos to just give us a call, tell us how much you are paying to buy a fuel. Jide, I think you have some some prices across the country, and it's scandalous that we're in the same Nigeria, while some people will enjoy the luxury of 145 in Nigeria. You can just give us how much some people are buying it across the north and going to the east.
Now, in Kano, it's 200 naira per liter at most filling stations.
In Kano?
Yes. In Kaduna, between 250 and 300 naira at most filling stations.
Kaduna?
Yes. In Kwara, it's between 180 to 250 at most filling stations. Abia is between 185 to 200 at most filling stations. Imo is from 220 to 250 at most filling stations. Bayelsa is 200 naira at filling stations, apart from NNPC.
Jide, let's quickly take this breather. When we come back, we dissect this more. Please, it's still Journalist Hangout. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from Television Continental here in Lagos, Nigeria, and we are looking at the fuel scarcity across the country. And I woke up this morning, I checked the NNPC close to me, and I saw the normal long queue, and I was on red. So I know if I'm on red, I still have 15 liters to take me to work. I know if I get to work, I can still find a way to buy. But, Jide, we are not, if we are saying we are not paying subsidy, those outside Lagos, what are they doing? These people that we reeled out before we went on this break, what are they paying for?
That's the pain of it all. Because of supply disequilibrium, because they don't have enough supply, you don't want Nigerians to suffer. You don't want Nigerians to pay too much for petrol because it will affect other things.
Everything.
As I was reading yesterday about Yobe, because Yobe, I think the state capital has only one NNPC outlet. Now, the independent marketers and other people, they are having a field day selling at prices that please them. But the truth is, even if DPR, they don't do any other thing beyond even sleeping at filling stations. They will not achieve anything.
They don't have enough manpower.
How many people do, how many staff do they have? In any case, the head of DPR downstream here in Lagos told us long when some Nigerians were losing their heads, lying that, oh, it was hoarding, it was
Christmas period.
The man confessed to us that, look, from the graph that he could see that there was shortage in supply. There is another staff of NNPC that I was reading about, the one in Port Harcourt. We are supposed to have 2 refineries. But fuel scarcity is actually worse in Port Harcourt than most Nigerian cities. And Dr. Ibani Frank Briggs was admitting to the Guardian that indeed there is supply issue. That's somebody who works with a subsidiary of NNPC, which is what we have been saying for so long. Confess to your countrymen that you are not bringing in enough products. Stop the lies. Fear God. Stop the lies. Because that is why we are facing this problem. If the president says he doesn't want to increase fuel prices because he doesn't want people to suffer, so he prefers NNPC to take on that trading loss, as he was talking about. So it's NNPC that takes on the trading loss in form of subsidy.
And they are now painting another picture that all is well.
Now, NNPC is taking on the trading loss because the president does not want Nigerians to pay more for fuel, because it will have a ripple effect in other goods and services. Now, if people are paying as much as 280 per liter, then the president's wish to not have Nigerians suffer has already been defeated.
Yes.
Because people are paying more now. People are paying more now than any situation that the president could have imagined.
They pay with
are paying more. They are paying more. You and sometimes all these guys who sell in the black market, they sell to you petrol mixed with a bit of diesel.
Yes.
A bit of diesel and water.
To affect your engine.
Which will affect your engine. So what are we talking about? If someone could be buying petrol at 250 naira to 300 naira per liter in Kaduna, where we have one of our youngest refineries, that's a refinery that managed to produce about 53 million liters in a whole year.
53 million liters
in a whole year. The Kaduna refinery is a cadaver. It's a cadaver. If all it can do in a whole year is just 53 million liters.
And they will budget money for turnaround maintenance.
And we keep, go and look at the NNPC's bill to the National Assembly is 1.8 billion that he wants to spend on those cadavers that they are calling refineries.
1.8 billion naira or dollars?
Dollars. 1.8 billion dollars. No. That one is not money. 1.8 billion dollars is what we want to spend on a fresh turnaround maintenance for refineries that once you are through with them, they may not even work for 1 week.
That's a scam. It's a scam. You see, the turnaround maintenance thing is a scam. And until we tell ourselves the truth, look at Nitel. We've gone through this route before. When Nitel was the only one handling telecommunications, nothing worked. They kept pumping money there, and nothing worked. People used to queue at Nitel. When it was regularized, government has no business with business. That is the reality. The refineries, they should have sold the refineries and allowed, but because it's a scam, some people benefit from it every time they want to do turnaround maintenance. They will work for some time. It will break down again. They are old anyway, so there's no need. The money that they use, that 1.8...
And they don't have the capacity to even
serve
us if they are working at maximum capacity.
Turnaround maintenance will give you modern refineries. Yes. But that scam will soon end. Immediately Dangote refinery comes on board, that scam will end.
In 2019.
That scam will end. Because you see, as an individual, as when you run business, when you go to the bank and you collect money and you know you have to pay back, you run your business properly.
Yes.
But government, because it is government money, which is nobody's money, everybody just doing their own. There is evidence that these refineries won't work. Why they keep pumping money
even sabotage them?
Yes, they sabotage it because some people got the sabotage it. So immediately they know that it won't work. Why are they burning themselves? But my own argument is this. One, I think that the people in NNPC are not efficient, or maybe their hands are tied because of politics or the policy of government. But I don't think that the MD of NNPC should feel embarrassed, because we've seen fuel scarcity, but we've never seen fuel scarcity that has lasted this long. And I think part of the problem is that the president has no business being the minister for petroleum.
Okay, I wanted to ask that question, Jide. I wanted to ask you that. Fine. Let's say we have a substantive minister of petroleum. Let's say Kachukwu is the minister of petroleum. Yeah. By now, we'll be calling for his head.
Yes. Of course.
The way he's a minister of state now, and if you read the NNPC Act, you understand that the minister of state is so incapacitated to act.
Until that act of insubordination by Mekanti Baru, we thought, we never knew that Kachukwu did not have so much powers. You know?
Spelt out.
Yeah, clearly.
Spelt out.
And you know, that's why an individual in NNPC can sit down and be writing a press statement, abusing, ridiculing the minister of state. In today's Nigeria, you see how we have degenerated.
Would that happen to Alice Maduka?
You know, now,
is it possible
you
for
see,
a PRO in NNPC?
Yeah, a PRO will sit down
against Alice Maduka.
Oh. Say what
even the MD was sacked.
Yes, sir.
She sacked the MD of NNPC.
Yes. Now the thing is, you know, even during Rilwano Lukman, nobody will try it. Even during Rilwano Lukman, nobody will try it. If you see, when you have, it does not have those powers. Look at, he spoke like a honest, God-fearing person at the Senate public hearing. Confessed about the state of the oil sector. And at the end of the day, those things that he suggested, none of them has been implemented. There is a clear determination to not want marketers, who are the key to solving this problem, to not want them to come back to bringing in products.
Because they don't want to pay subsidy.
Yes, it is not the business.
You have to pay marketers subsidy.
It is not the business of the regulator, which is NNPC to be involved in bringing in products, dispensing products.
Let me take my
They
first
don't want
caller.
to pay subsidy.
Olayinka is calling us from Lagos.
That's the problem.
We should be suffering.
I don't want much call from Lagos because Lagos is cut out from the reality that we have on ground. We want people to call from other parts of the country.
Yes.
But let's take Yinka. Thank you for joining us, Yinka. Hello, Yinka.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello, good afternoon, please.
Yes, go ahead with your contribution.
All right. What I actually want to contribute concerning this non-queuing filling station is that President Buhari has a lot to do in this role. He is the Minister of Petroleum, and he will be held responsible for whatever is going on in that sector.
True.
And again, I would like to please tell Mr. Babajide to reduce the word they are lying to the president. They are lying to the president. He is, after all, he's the Minister of Petroleum. He should be held responsible for whatever happened in that sector. He should take charge. He should take responsibility for what happened. So,
thank you, Olayinka. At least we'll get your drift there. Yinka, I think Yinka does not have some information. The president might be the Minister of Petroleum.
It cannot be everywhere.
It cannot be everywhere.
You know, someone was telling me the other day, we were talking on Facebook, and he said, see, it is Kachukwu. Kachukwu is not on ground. It is Baru that is on ground. I said, Kachukwu has told us that vessels are coming in. Even Baru that you think is on ground, when vessels berth in Lagos, he cannot see them on his iPad. He can't, except he wants to lie, which I will not be surprised about. He can't see. So what are you talking about? Civil servants will tell you that, okay, this is what is happening. It's just like me now. It's just like me. I send a Jokeli Jadu to Lekki, go and see what is happening there.
You rely on.
I'll rely on the information that he brings to me. If he tells me that, oh, that place is calm, this and that, because I've been a newspaper editor, I've seen a situation in which a reporter refused to go to a venue and he sent a story to us that, oh, everywhere is calm there. Whereas a rival newspaper now showed fighting and all that. They had to sack him. So this is how someone who is at the top can be led.
It can be everywhere.
If they are telling the president that, oh, we have supplied everywhere, look at that, look at the lie that Kachiku, I mean, that Baru came up with during the hearing, that about 5,000 trucks were diverted. He took that president of the petrol tanker station to say, look, it is not possible that this was what happened. He said what happened was you didn't, the certification that they should go to, you said they should not go, they should just go and start dispensing at filling stations. That it is not possible. You
didn't log it.
Within just 2-3 weeks, 5,000 trucks.
5,000, 1 to 5,000.
That man exposed him. He could not say a word afterwards. You see? So if the president was told that same story, because whether we like it or not, he's just, in my own view, is just petroleum minister by name. He's not directly involved in the day-to-day running of the place. He has so much to think about than be involved in the day-to-day running. He's not the one who goes to OPEC meetings.
Yes.
He's not the one who goes to OPEC meetings where even prices are fixed. It is Kachiku who goes. So the president, is about time that the president dropped that portfolio so that we can know who to face. All these people are reluctant now to say, okay, no, let's not blame the president. He's just holding. What do you want? What are you doing with petroleum minister? Is it because Obasanjo did it that you want?
That doesn't make it normal.
That doesn't make it right.
I have Surulere from Osun State. Surulere, where are you calling from in Osun State?
Yeah.
Where are you calling from?
From Osun State.
Where in Osun State?
Osogbo.
Osogbo, okay, that's the state capital. How much are you buying it?
Yeah, 180. It's only over. I'm buying 180. 180 naira in Osogbo. It's only Bovas filling station. Hello, it's only Bovas filling station that is selling at normal price, which is 145 naira.
Okay. Okay.
You know what?
Okay, Surulere.
You know, we are surprised. We don't know where this government is heading to. Everybody is suffering. You know, and we all know that the fuel takes an important part in woman's life.
Okay, thank you, Shubuloye. I have to go on this break. When we come back, we'll discuss more. We'll wrap up on this one. We'll come back. Please stay with us. It's still Journalist Hangout. Welcome back. It's Journalist Hangout, and while we were on break and we're explaining that particular filling station that was mentioned in Lagos, at times they sell 143. Yes. You know, some around Lagos. Now in Osogbo they sell 145, and that will be why.
That's Bovas.
Yes,
Bovas is a big tank farm owner.
They have storage.
They have fantastic storage capacity. Apart from that, they are also involved in the retail end of the business. So Bovas can buy from NNPC directly at 133 naira per liter and push plenty of the product to its retail outlets. The rest they will sell to independent marketers and other people. Okay, from there they will make, the profit they make by selling to other people is higher than what they make, you know, from selling to car owners and all that. Okay. So when they talk about Bovas, this Bovas has a big tank farm and it has retail outlets. So it makes sense. If I am the MD of Bovas and I get 40 million liters, I will push more than 3/4 of that to my filling stations. I will make good money. The rest I can now sell to independent marketers and make profit, because what tank farm owners are doing is they are selling to independent marketers at even higher than the approved pump price. So they make more money selling to marketers. Those marketers can't cope. There are some marketers who have not had petrol in up to 2 months. Yeah, they are sacking their staff.
Yes, yes, they can sell.
You know?
They've not opened their station. Mala is calling us from Maiduguri. Thank you, Mala.
Hello, good evening, Babajide.
Good evening, Mala. Yeah, Kekere.
Hello, actually, we are not happy with what is happening regarding this fuel something. Actually, today I bought a liter of fuel for 230 naira.
You see?
230.
Imagine an IDP buying a liter of fuel for 130 naira. An IDP in Maiduguri.
You're an IDP?
Yeah, now, 230 naira per liter.
Mala, you have television to watch us. And you have television to call us.
Hello, actually, we are not happy about what is happening. Buhari should do something for us.
Why did you call yourself IDP?
Urgently.
Mala?
Yes, Babajide.
Kache K IDP ne. Aba.
Yeah, everybody is IDP now in Maiduguri. Almost 90% of us are IDP.
Aba Mala.
Because I was...
no, it's because it's Maiduguri. That's why.
I was processing the information. You have phone to call us. You have.
No, you're saying that because it's in Maiduguri. That's why.
Wrapping up on this now.
Yeah,
what should be done?
One, I think because of the nature of the problem, I think we need an hands-on minister to be able to handle this problem. So, Mr. President should just let us have a substantive, yes, so hands off, and let us have a substantive minister. Two, NNPC, the government, through NNPC, should face reality. It's either they want to pay subsidy so that they can bring in the marketers to bring in the fuel, because NNPC alone cannot bring in the required fuel. They don't even have the storage, so they use
only 500 filling stations.
Yes, and they use people, and those people will still even sell. You know, they had issues with some
defraud
them. Yes, because people will.
No, they don't use them anymore. You know, if you have Bar has fantastic storage.
That's what I'm saying.
No, they stopped using him. So where do they go?
Because I think because some of the fuel evaporated.
Yes,
11 million liters.
11 million liters. So it is important that NNPC government should face reality. Is that they should allow marketers to come in so that they pay subsidy. If they don't want to do that, then they should allow people.
They don't want to eat their words.
They should allow. Yes, they don't want to do their words. But the reality is that it's either they pay subsidy or they allow people to pay the right price for fuel. But because they know the repercussion of that, especially as election is coming, that is why they don't want to do that. So they should just face reality and pay subsidy.
Jide,
yes,
be realistic. Put yourself in the shoes of the government and Nigerians. Yes. What is the best way out? Because Mayor just said something, election is coming, you can't afford to increase pump price.
No, you can't afford. I've said it, if the president increases fuel price, nobody will elect him.
He will lose election.
He will lose the election.
Subsidy.
If he tries it, he will lose the election. I've said that repeatedly, and he knows it. Because even now, the government is facing some backlash with the Nigerian people. So this is not the time to even think of the quantum of increase that the president put on fuel prices when he effected it is the highest in Nigerian history.
No Nigerian leader.
It's inconceivable for that same president to go back now.
Yes, to come back
and still add. No. Even Obasanjo, who routinely increased fuel price, who in a remarkable act of wickedness, less than 48 hours to his leaving office, decided to increase fuel prices on behalf of the incoming Yaradua. He would not even try that.
Jide said a remarkable act of wickedness. Let's leave it that way. Now, we'll celebrate the release of 3 University of Maiduguri lecturers. Now, and 10 women kidnapped by the Boko Haram in separate raids in 2017. The UNIMAID staff were abducted in Magumeri area of Borno State during the oil exploration work in July, while women had been in captivity since June after a raid on the security convoy in Dambwa Road. Now, for months, families and friends hoped for their safe return. While we rejoice over this development, Army and Boko Haram's activities from last week were reminiscent of Hollywood terror movie with quid pro quo tactics. Now, February the 3rd, theater commander of Operation Lafia Dole, that's Rogers Nicholas, announced that the army had completely defeated Boko Haram. 4 days later, infamous terror leader Abubakar Shekau released a new video where he bragged that his fighters are still solidly in Sambisa Forest. He also boasted that he still has in his custody police officers' wives. Fast forward to last Saturday, these women and UNIMAID staff were released from captivity and were ferried to the Nigerian government by the Red Cross. We knew their freedom from the deadest threat was negotiated, but on what terms? The first set of Chibok girls came. The second set came. Nigerians are even waiting, in spite of the video that showed that some of those girls are suffering from Stockholm syndrome, that they don't want to come back home. They're in love with their captors. Now, if Shekau came on a video last week or 2 weeks ago to brag and still keep possession of this man, we thank whatever terms they might have been released. But how do you think the Red Cross or anybody that we are getting through to talk to these people, is it possible for us to now reach a final terms of agreement in terms of lay your arms of what do you want, if we are able to reach this kind of negotiation, to tell them what do you want for peace to reign?
Oh, that's what many people have been saying, but the nature of this kind of insurgency, Shekau would rather die than lay down his lives. Lay down his arms. He would rather die in the process. But when they negotiate with us in this manner, they know that they will get something in return.
Who are they negotiating with, Shekau or Abanawi?
It depends. It depends on who is holding
them.
Yes. Who, because, and as we speak, there are some guests, Chibok guests with Mama Nura and Abanawi, and there are some still with Shekau. You know, sometime in 2015, I think around October 2015, there was going to be an exchange of, Boko Haram, of Chibok guests and some commanders. But one of the factions stormed the scene.
Which faction now?
The Abanawi faction stormed the scene and said, no, this exchange will not take place. These Chibok guests, if you try to hand over this Chibok guests, we'll go and kill the ones with us. So that effectively stopped the attempt to get those guests released. This government will have secured release of the Chibok guests, at least the first set, from way back in October, around October 2015, somewhere between Mafa and Dikwa in Borno State. It didn't happen. Now, what they are doing, for example, when they get information that, okay, Magumeri, that part of Borno State is in Albanawi territory. So they will tell themselves that, okay, this attack must have been carried out by Albanawi's people. You know, usually the deadliest attacks on the military convoys were by that group, you know. So they will go and negotiate with those ones through a third party. Governments do not negotiate directly with terrorists. Even America, remember, even France, when Boko Haram kidnapped those French clerics in Cameroon, they had to pay ransom of $500,000 through a third party. You know, when Boko Haram kidnapped those Chinese oil workers in Cameroon, they had to pay ransom through a third party, ransom of around $500,000. From there, these guys can buy weapons. They can buy equipment for bomb making.
Feed themselves.
You know? So that kind of negotiation favors them because they get something in return. And they can also ask for the release of some of their trusted lieutenants who are in Nigerian detention. In fact, they will give you a long list. They know the prisons where they are being kept.
Wow.
Yes. Forget these people, they know what they are doing, they are current. They will give you a long list. Okay, someone is in Yola prison, someone is in so-so prison. Go and bring him. It's usually they are most dangerous bomb makers. So at the end of the day, there's something for you and there's something for me. We go back, we remain enemies, but we go back happier. The bombings that we are carrying out, if you see even some of the Chibok guests, you see that some of them are amputees already. Because some of them have been bombed in error, you know. Some of them stepped on landmines and all that. So, and some have died from this kind of thing. So the negotiation, when you see, like I'm sure the president also saw the picture of those police wives when they were crying, asking to be freed. They were begging Nigeria to negotiate for their freedom. When you see such things, you ask yourself, shouldn't government do something about this? Because some people will tell you, no, I know it's not good to negotiate with terrorists. But when you find your own sister amongst these people, or your mom,
family,
then you cannot, you feel that government must do everything to bring these people home.
Mayor, even those lecturers that were on exploration.
You know, terrorism, because terrorism is like the new theater of war worldwide. That's the new world war. And because governments all over the world is trying to fight terrorism, the first step they did was to try to cut their funding. There are people that that are fundamentalists, rich people who used to fund them. But because the governments all over the world
follow the money.
Yes, they follow the money and they'll be able to cut that substantially. So most terrorists now rely on kidnappings, ransom, armed robbery. Those are the ways that they can get, because they also still need money. Like I said, they need money for ammunition, they need money for sustenance, they need money for upkeep to run the organization. So it is easier to kidnap. When you know you have an high profile, so you know that the other party will pay. So it's not as if anything that's a let off or there is a reduction in what they are doing. No. It's just that they need money.
They need the money.
And they have people that they believe that you value and you want to pay for. Tomorrow they will still come back and try to get other people that they can collect ransom on. So that is the reality. So nothing I said. And the army spokesperson should desist telling us every time that they've destroyed Boko Haram. I mean, that is naive, because you cannot win a terrorist war like that. You can reduce their activities within a particular area. Because it is not something, it's not a conventional war where you will know that, okay, this is a territory that we want to dominate, and you dominate that territory, and you say, okay, you say you've won the war. But this is a war that is on the move. This is people who are not conventional. So even if you take care of them for some time, they will lie low. Some of them will go back to maybe Niger, to Chad. They will live like normal people. After some time, when they get this kind of money, they'll come back. Then they will reorganize again and start doing their activities. So yes, government will have to commend our military that they've done well, yes, but they should know that this is a long haul. Even America is still fighting people in Afghanistan, they still fight people in Syria, they still fight people all over. So it's not a war you can win like that. And we should not feel, yes, we're happy that at least there is progress. There is progress and there is a need for them to ask for money, and they can collect money from us. So that's good, but we should not delude ourselves that all is well. No.
Babajide, now these people are lucky to be alive. These lecturers,
very, very lucky.
They didn't even behead them.
Do you understand? Some people, they've been held captive like that.
So in that attack, they killed some of the lecturers.
Killed soldiers.
They killed soldiers. They killed at least 18 soldiers in that attack. No? Yes, and they took away the gun trucks. You know.
So congratulations to these lecturers.
Yes, they're very lucky.
They are lucky to be. Some of their colleagues are dead.
This is because those guys, because of the kind of war that we are fighting with them now, there's need for them for cash. They've lost a lot of ammunitions. There's a need.
And that's why they are targeting military bases.
Yes, the organization is in disarray, so they need money. That is why they will negotiate for this one. And
any time they target the military base, they want to steal weapons. You saw what happened in Difa prefecture in the Niger Republic. They went there, attacked the military base there, and took away so many weapons. That was about 4 weeks ago.
What could make them attack a military base? As in, yes,
they need weapons.
They need weapons.
They need weapons.
The kind of audacity that you will have,
it depends.
To be able to.
It depends.
There are military bases. A military base is a function of many variables. You have a military base of minimum soldiers. A minimum soldiers, a commander, maybe of the level of a captain with his troops, not so many. In terms of weapons, not so heavy. Now, they will do their own surveillance and determine like how many Boko Haram fighters they need to overrun that military base. So when they go there with maximum force, with like 2 times the number of soldiers in that place, the soldiers, it's either they run away,
they overwhelm them,
or they'll kill all of them. And that's what happened in Sassawa. Because when they got there, they overran the base.
Because if you have 100 soldiers
And they have 200, and they are carrying the same weapons.
Yes, and they brought 1,000 soldiers, or they brought 1,000 Boko Haram fighters, or 2,000 Boko Haram fighters. There's nothing you can do. It's either you run away or you die.
No, when they went to that village, that's Sasawa, they came with about 4 trucks. They came in about 4 trucks. So you can imagine the number of fighters. And Boko Haram, they use anti-aircraft guns.
As natural,
that's their favorite
as a normal
arsenal. Yes, anti-aircraft gun. They don't use it to bring down planes.
No.
They fire it
to dominate the environment.
If you make something that's designed to bring down a plane, you will fire it at human beings. Even soldiers will think twice before waiting to fight you.
And there's an element of surprise.
And then they also use rocket-propelled grenades.
GPRG.
Yes, I've seen Boko Haram RPG fighters and Nigerian soldiers in direct combat. I've seen them with the RPG, and that RPG too is designed to destroy armored tanks. And you are firing it at human beings. So when you see Boko Haram come in that manner, because our own soldiers are trained, they can't use anti-aircraft guns to fight human beings. They rather use their assault weapons and all that. So when you see them, you see he's carrying that RPG. You know that it's a dangerous fellow, because within a 50-meter radius,
anybody there,
he can kill as many people as possible. So in that state, they are dangerous, and when they go like that, they use strength in numbers a lot against our troops. They use it a lot.
Let me take Tony. Tony is calling us from Jos. Thank you for joining us, Tony.
Hello, my brother. How are you?
Yes, thank you for joining us.
It's like you always keep us so low before you receive.
Tony, sometimes I'm sorry, Tony.
To you to know that we are a call is coming in.
I'm sorry, Tony. So many people at the same time want to call.
Like that with other stations.
I'm sorry, Tony.
Talking on fuel issue.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate what we are suffering in this country. This is our president, when he was the military head of state, when he left the government. This is a man I met in one filling station close to Amodibele, NNDC, where I was working. Long queue that time, about that time. This man had to, some man saw him. They said, no, he should go take his vehicle in. He said that there is 4 hours discipline. And people said, no, that he should come in. So what am I trying to say? Is that this man has seen suffering. If somebody has experienced that kind of a thing, and God brings you back to put things right, and you cannot put it, and trying to say that probably Obasanjo assume Minister of Petroleum to himself. If Obasanjo assume Minister of Petroleum to himself, is he as strong as Obasanjo? Is he as strong as Obasanjo, even up till now?
Tony is asking a question I can't answer. Thank you, Tony.
You can't determine whether
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not his doctor.
That is subjective.
I don't know how strong.
Is he as strong as Obasanjo?
I don't even know even the strong that he's talking about. Only their wives can tell us.
No. He's saying whether he's not as agile as Obasanjo.
No, these are questions that even it can be answered in the other room.
Well, now when we look at this operation, Lafi Adole has injected, Rogers Nicholas, he want to make a statement, he's new, and he want to do everything to please the Chief of Army Staff and the Commander-in-Chief that, look, now that I'm coming in, I'm going to bring a halt to this. In all this enthusiasm, maybe that's why he was quick to say, we've defeated them, and so be it. Now, when you want to see the next phase of this...
then the spokesman of the army has clarified that.
Okay.
That it is an ongoing thing. Nobody said they've been completely...
Are we the whipping dog again?
He has clarified it.
Okay.
Let's give it to them.
Okay.
So that was a slip of mouth.
Okay, slip of mouth. Thank you for clarifying that. Not that it was misquoted by the media.
But he's doing a fantastic job.
Yes, yes.
And even the governor of Borno State admitted that Nicholas is the best
doing a very good job.
theater commander.
Because I want to know the frequent change of this theater commander and how we are getting results.
It's done fantastically well, and sometimes he even goes into Sambisa, stay with the troops.
Yes, I think
he's
it's
done.
Sambisa.
You know, able to people, the way our troops dominate Sambisa now, they've never dominated it like so. Sambisa. The man has done a tremendous job. I can understand why when the governor of Borno State praised him and said, "See,
it's from the
when
southeast.
Northerners were brought here, they didn't achieve the kind of result that this man has achieved in a short time." I can understand where the Borno governor was coming from. Sure. And many people were not happy, you know, they say, why should they? Others too made contributions. But the truth is, he has done well. The same way that Lamidi Adeosun impressed us, you know, before Jonathan left office. All those big towns, Lamidi Adeosun was the GOC of 7th Division. You know, the soldiers chased away their former GOC, Mohammed. He had to go and hide inside an armor tank when they wanted to kill him. But Lamidi Adeosun came, he did a fantastic job. All those big towns, Goza, liberated all of them before the election. So Nicholas too has done well. I think also too that Irabo did a good job.
Yeah,
but
the immediate past.
There's no way I can assess them better than the governor of Borno State, who has said that, look, somebody who's not from the north has come here and done better than
any other person.
So we can only wish him good luck as he continues.
Yes, like I said, we hope that he will continue what he's doing. It's a long drawn battle. They should continue. They should sustain the pressure that they have now, because they must not allow them to regroup again within Sambisa, because I think that is let them what they have now, which one that they are moving from countries around that.
We've seen rain in Lagos axis February.
Yes, that is how it should continue what they are doing, and then we should hope that we should be more security conscious, so that we don't give them opportunity to kidnap the kind of high profile people like they did for
to kidnap anybody.
Anybody. There are still many people. The Red Cross said today that there are still so many people in their hands. Absolutely. Because they are still holding some towns. So the Red Cross said it. So.
I want to thank you, Mayor Akinpalu, for being part of this edition. And Babajide, we'll do it again tomorrow, hopefully. Yeah. And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another exciting episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on all our other platforms showing on the screen. And you can catch us on YouTube. That's youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Uzuba. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.